Hello Game Boys and Game Girls, I'm the Game Boy Guru and welcome to another video game vinyl video. This time I wanted to go over a specific series of games that have all received vinyl soundtracks, and I've got all but one here, and I'll explain why as we go along. But today we're going to be looking at the Castlevania series, and the soundtracks for those have all been released from a company called Mondo. Mondotees.com, and then Mondo has a record label that they do, and they do a lot of I guess you would say specialty soundtracks, video game soundtracks. They've done the Castlevania series, they've done a couple of Contra vinyls and a couple of other things. They've also done a lot of indie movies, or they've reissued soundtracks for classic movies, a lot of classic horror movies, and then a handful of other soundtracks that they've just done vinyl reissues for. And so, anyway, I thought I would go over those today and show those off. So, first off, we've got the vinyl record for the original Castlevania. Now, these all have a spine card, just like you would get on a Japanese CD. I kind of wish they would have done this like Datadiscs does and use Obi strips instead, because these are a little bit harder to store. What I'm going to end up doing with all of these is probably just including them in here because they're all a gatefold, but I'll show that off here in a second. And so this is the vinyl for the first game, and if it looks a little small, it is. It's because it is a 10-inch record instead of a 12-inch. It does, however, still run at 33 RPM, I believe. I'd have to pull one of these out to look at it, but on the inner sleeve, you've got the map screen that you see in the game, which is awesome. I love that they did that. And then you've got a little legend in here that shows you the different items in the game and weapons and things, and then the bonuses and how many points they're worth. So it's kind of a neat deal. It is a gatefold, but it is only the one record. And comes in a nice paper sleeve here. And you've got the gray and black splatter pattern there. And so there's side A with Dracula himself. And then side B with, I think, either a werewolf or possibly, probably a werewolf. But this is the soundtrack from the first game. It is, I want to say that it is just one version of the soundtrack because I think there was only one version of the game, meaning that the original Castlevania released on Famicom and NES in virtually the same form, without a whole lot of changes from region to region. But love the Medusa on the back. Of course, the Medusa heads being horribly annoying enemies in the Castlevania games, but really cool design there. So that is the vinyl for the first Castlevania game. In fact, I think I'm going to go ahead and do this now. I'm just going to go ahead and put the spine card in there. So that is the first Castlevania vinyl. For Castlevania 2, we also have a 10-inch, and really like the color scheme of this one. Of course, you've got the spine card there, and I really like the color scheme of this one and the look of it. It's a really cool design. Of course, you've got Simon Belmont with an impossibly long whip. You've got the Grim Reaper here, or Death. You've got this cool werewolf there on the back, and of course the Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest logo there. And this does have two versions of the soundtrack. Side A on here is the NES version, and then side B is the Famicom version because it actually utilized the Famicom disk system. Once again, you have a cool map on the inside of the gatefold. Really nice look and artwork in there, kind of sketch work. Neat deal there. And this one I don't have the splatter vinyl for because I did not pre-order this one like I did the original. I bought this later, so I did not get the limited special vinyl. I only got the standard color vinyl, which is this awesome green. So I actually like this quite a bit. But you've got the elderly gentleman there, who I'm guessing is one of the many NPCs in the game who give you rather cryptic information, at least in the NES version that we got here. And then, of course, the Grim Reaper there. But a really nice green color here on the Castlevania 2 vinyl. And again, side A is the NES release, and then side B is the slightly expanded Famicom Disk System version, which has a little bit more robust sounding audio. And again, 10-inch, 33 RPM, but definitely still worth picking up. It's a good soundtrack. I mean, obviously, those of you who are familiar with these games will know that pretty much all the Castlevania games have really good soundtracks. Then we move on to Castlevania 3, Dracula's Curse. Once again, spine card. And another really cool design here on the front. I gotta remember what the artist's name is that does these. It says here, oh, this is the original artwork by Sachin Teng. So really neat design on this. And I'm not even sure what all of this means. But of course, Castlevania 3 has not only Trevor Belmont, but it also has Alucard and Grant, I think is the name of the guy. And so, really cool artwork there. And then, of course, you got Dracula on the back with allusions to some of the other monsters and things in the game. Really cool stuff. And this is actually 2 discs. And so disc 1 is the NES version, disc 2 is the Famicom Disk System. And here, again, you've got kind of basic maps based on the layouts of the different levels. So, still really cool. Once again, I failed to pre-order this one. I don't remember if it was because I didn't have the money at the time or what the reason behind that was. But I do like the translucent orange that we got, and so here's that. And I love the fact that you've got the sort of health and weapon meter kind of thing, or health and boss health meter there, and the Castlevania font there, and then so there's side B, of course. But really cool design. I love this sort of I guess you call it an orange cream soda almost kind of hue. They also stepped it up on the Castlevania 3. It's not just a paper sleeve, but it's got the anti-static lining on it. And so that is the first platter, sides A and B. My only complaint about the outer sleeve on this is it's so stiff, it almost feels like it's slightly too small or not quite big enough, because once you pull the records out the first time, I've never been able to get them back in to where they fit in and the thing closes properly after that first time. Once again, the nice orange vinyl. There is side C and side D. Really nice looking and sounding record. These sound great. They were nicely mastered. I listened to this one actually just a few days ago, and it really sounds great. So that is Castlevania 3. Now, It's really tricky to get this back in here without damaging this. Oh, wait a minute. Did I do this right? Yeah. Without damaging the sleeve, and of course they're already... It's already kind of split there at the bottom, just because this is so tight a fit. There we go. So that is Castlevania 3. Then we come to Super Castlevania 4. And once again, spine card with the logo there, information, and a nice representation here of Simon Belmont with the cross boomerang weapon. And this is really cool on the back. There, Dracula sitting on his throne with Simon with the whip there, the vampire killer whip, confronting Dracula. And on the gatefold, once again, you get kind of a layout of the game in terms of the journey to Dracula's castle. Because in this game, you don't necessarily play in the castle like you do in the first game and the third game. And then, of course, in the second game, you kind of have to make your way to the castle after you find your the pieces of Dracula that you have to sort of reassemble him so you can kill him again. It's a weird thing, but yeah. So there's the inside of the gatefold. And really cool design. This one I did pre-order. I made sure to get this one. And so you've got really nice looking label there. The Super Castlevania 4 logo and some nice artwork. This artwork was done by, says original artwork by Genolab. I don't know who that is, but they do good work because I like the look of the stuff on here, and so really cool. This sort of, I don't know, big demon bull creature thing, and Simon standing there with a big axe waiting to take him on. So that is sides A and B. Seems like this one fits in just a little bit better than 3. And again, with sides C and D, you've got the nice gray splatter vinyl there, and there's the label. Really nice design with Simon confronting this sort of skull worm creature thing. And then side D, once again, Simon with the vampire killer whip and confronting this big hulking ogre thing. Really reminds me of 80s metal albums in a good way. That is Super Castlevania 4. And I listened to this one earlier today, and it really struck me. I know I've experienced it before, but it really struck me how the music in the first 3 games, most of it is, I'm not going to say high tempo, but most of it has goes at a pretty good clip, and and is a bit more upbeat, I'll say, just because of the nature of the chiptune. Where with the Super NES, the sound quality and hardware was way different. It wasn't just the same level of chiptune, or even what you could get from the Famicom Disk System. It was quite a ways beyond that. So the music is a lot more down-tempo, somber. It's all I don't know, it's all very moody and atmospheric. even the songs that return, like Bloody Tears, Simon Belmont's theme, Vampire Killer, that make new appearances in Super Castlevania 4, all the tracks in there are much different. They're all slower, they're more mellow, but moody and atmospheric, like I said. So it's a really interesting soundtrack. Now, what I should be showing you next should be Rondo of Blood, but I did not get that pre-ordered. I wanted to, and I tried, but it sold out really super fast, and I was not able to get it. So that will be forthcoming, because they are going to be doing another pressing. What I was able to pre-order, however, is Symphony of the Night, which is my favorite Castlevania soundtrack of all time, and probably one of my top 5, if not top 3 video game soundtracks of all time. So, of course, the spine card there with the classic Castlevania Symphony of the Night logo. And this is original artwork by Jasmine Darnell. And I gotta tell you, it's really good. Of course, that's Alucard on the front, with his big flowing cape and curly locks. And, of course, the kind of the silhouette of Dracula's castle and the moon there behind. On the back, of course, you got the track list and Dracula himself. What is a man? And really actually nice portrait of him, kind of based on or inspired by the art that was included in the original release from Japan, and then of course what that carried over into the game, and the pixelated portrait of him within the game that you see during the various cutscenes that are voiced. Inside the gatefold, here you've got Maria Renard, who Symphony of the Night acts like essentially a direct sequel to Rondo of Blood. And so in Rondo, Maria was, I guess you would say, a teenage girl or a young girl. And then in this game, she's a young woman looking for Richter Belmont over here in Dracula's castle. And so really nice portraits of Maria and Richter here on the inside of the gatefold. And again, I pre-ordered this, so I got the special limited vinyl edition, which is this really nice kind of, you wouldn't call it splatter almost. It is a splatter pattern, but it's a really nice kind of sunburst effect. And so just a really classic, clean label there with the track listing for A and B, and this nice sort of cream gray and light blue vinyl coloring there. So again, that is sides A and B. And then side C comprises the rest of the original soundtrack as it was on the PlayStation game. And side D, on the second vinyl there, actually provides the additional bonus tracks that were in the Saturn version, which includes a new song called Guardian, 2 remixes of Vampire Killer, 2 remixes of Bloody Tears, and 2 remixes of Beginning, all of which are quality, but I would say they're not quite up to the standard of the original PlayStation soundtrack from when the game was initially released. So again, there's side C and the cool cream gray and light blue kind of sunburst effect. Almost has a little bit of pink in there as well, and I don't know if that's just an effect of the colored vinyl bleeding together or what it is. There's side D. My only disappointment with this package, as great as it is that it does not include I Am the Wind. However, I have been told that the reason it does not is because of licensing issues. Now, I thought that I Am the Wind had been originally commissioned by Konami for the game, but it is possible that they just licensed the track for inclusion within the game. Because there was a CD single released in Japan, which now goes for insane amounts of money, that includes vocal versions of I Am the Wind and another track from the woman who sang it, and it was a duet with her and another gentleman. I wish I could remember his name off the top of my head. I should have looked before I mentioned it, but the CD single then also includes karaoke versions of both of those tracks, so there are no vocals. And of course, karaoke is quite popular in Japan. So for whatever reason, they weren't able to license that. So it's unfortunate, but not something. I mean, I understand why they couldn't have done it, or why they didn't spend the money to do that. But either way, one of the absolute best video game soundtracks, in my opinion, of all time. And certainly, even minus that, which is available on the game disc as a Redbook audio bonus track, so I can listen to it whenever I want. But just an absolute joy of a soundtrack, and something that I am so glad is finally on vinyl. And that I'll be able to pull out and throw on the turntable at any time and listen to, because it is just a beautiful soundtrack. So that is what I wanted to show you all today from my vinyl collection that is video game related, and I've got more that we'll be going over here in the coming months, and so stay tuned for more of these vinyl videos. If you like these vinyl collection videos, soundtracks, or would like to see some of my CD soundtracks, consider giving this video a thumbs up, so I know you want to see more content like this. Also consider subscribing so that you'll see more of my videos in your YouTube feed. Make sure you follow me on Twitter at GameBoyGuru. I'll have a link in the description below to my blog where you can check out all my Game Boy reviews. That is GameBoyGuru.blogspot.com. And also make sure you check out Nira and his channel. He provided the Super Mario Land overworld music that I use as the intro for my videos, and he's got a bunch of other great chiptune and game music covers as well, so make sure you go check those out. As always, thanks for watching, thanks for playing, and game on.